We are on Ayin Ches, 78.
Okay.
Ziv Hayotzim and Akosel. You have a little ledge. We're talking about a wall that's 10 tefachim high. We're trying to minimize the height of the wall so people on the one side of the chutzner can use it. So if you have a ledge, it comes out of the wall, arba al arba, 4 by 4. V'niach alav sulam kol shehu, and there's a little ladder that you can get to it. Miato, then it works. V'lo armar nelo de'us ve'alei. You have to put the ladder directly on the ledge. Aval usve badei arvecha arveche. But if you put it on the side, then the sulam is not considered that it's part of the ledge. And if the ziv is not within 3 tefachim of the ground, it's not going to minimize the height of the wall. You have a 19 tefach high wall. So you need a ziz at least sort of in the middle at 10. So one is close to the ground within 10, and it's close to the top within 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you have koisel estrim, then you need at least 2, like one at 8 and one, let's say, at 17. Each one will be 10 tefachim within each other, right? But it wouldn't make do with just one. Now, the ledges cannot be on top of each other. Otherwise, there's no way for you to climb from one ledge to the other. It's got to be sort of on the side of each other. If you have a post in the public thoroughfare, that's 10 high and 4 wide, which creates a Reshus HaYachid. So if you put something from the Reshus HaRabim and Reshus HaYachid, you've transferred in an illegal way. However, if you put a peg on top of that, so you've reduced it, so it's not 4 by 4 anymore, so it's a makam p'tur, and then it would be permitted, miato. The peg that you place there has to be at least 3 tefachim high. Otherwise, we use the principle of lavud and we flatten it out. They say no, even if it's the peg is less than 3 tefachim, my time, because the peg prevents you from using the full surface area of the top of that post, and that's enough. However, Ravashi says the opposite. Even if the peg was 3 tefachim high, it doesn't work because my time after the Tali Midi, you can hang something from that peg, so you have full usage of the top of that area. Ravashi. What if Milo Kulo be a Sedusma? What if you filled the whole top with pegs? Would you say the same thing? So Amar Lei, Ravashi responded, what? Lo Shmiela Chadam Rav Yochanan, didn't you hear what Rav Yochanan taught? You have a bore that is 9 tefach deep, the chulyasa, and you have the area, the rim, which let's say you built up 1 tefach of dirt around the bore. So now, the question was asked, bor v'chulyasa min starf lasara, does it create a bore of 10? And we asked, why should it be mitzaref? You can't, each part is used differently. So because maybe you put a board over the top and you can use the whole thing. So here's well with the pegs. If you put pegs on top of this post in Reshus HaRabim, you can use the whole thing. You can put a board on top of it and flatten it out and allow you to use whatever you want on top of that post. Amar Rav Shmuel. Koisel asara, a wall that's 10 tefachim. So you cannot use a ladder that's just 10 tefach because then you'd have to place it completely vertical. It's very hard to climb such a ladder. So tzarech sulam arba asar latiro. You need a 14 tefach ladder so that you can lie it on its side and have some kind of triangle in order for you to climb. Rav Yosef Aramfilu Shloisha Sarma. It doesn't have to be 14, even 13 a little bit. And Abaye Amar Filo Achad Asar Mashu, you don't even have to need 13. Even if you've moved the legs of the ladder a little bit, and the top of the ladder will be within 3 tefach, so you're going to use lavud, and that'll also work. And Ravuna Breda Vijrafilu Shiva Mashu, even if you had a 7 and a little bit. First of all, he says even a straight ladder will work, because he holds like Rav that a straight ladder will be mamai. And as long as you are within 3 tefachim of the top of the wall, and you use lavud, that will also work. Because Amarav Sulam Zakuf Mamait, that a straight ladder, even one that doesn't lean, even though it might be harder to climb, it will reduce the height of a wall. Gemara, that's a Masorah that I got. However, V'lo Yadana Maitai, I don't know why. Amar Shmuel, V'lo Yada Abba Taimadat Milsa, what, Rav doesn't know the reason? Midi Dava Itztava, Gabi Itztava, similar to the case we had yesterday. We had like a table on top of another table. We said you can climb on top of that, so that's also straight. So there would be no difference in the case of a ladder. Amar Rabba Rav Chia, the kolim sheba Bavel. If you have palm trees in Babylonia that you place alongside a wall, so you can sort of help you climb the wall, you don't have to sort of. And this is not a tree. This is like, let's say, like a telephone pole made from a tree. You don't have to dig it into the karka. It just leaning it there is enough. Why? Kveda and koivata, they're so heavy that they can't be moved on Shabbos. Like, remember we said, sometimes you have to sort of dig it into the ground. Otherwise people will move it on Shabbos. This is so heavy that it creates kviyas because of its heaviness. Rav Yosef Amar Rav Oshia, Sulama shebabavel einan tzrichim keva. The ladders in Bavel also don't need to be sort of buried in the ground. My time, kveda and koibasan, they're also very heavy. They can't be moved, and that will also serve the purpose. So Madamar Sulama is koshikain to come because the telephone poles made out of palm trees were much heavier. So if you learn that the ladder is good, certainly the palm would be good. However, Mandamar dukolim aval sulama slow, because the one who holds that it works by palm, it doesn't work by ladders, because the ladders are not as heavy as the palm. Boimene Rav Yosef Merabba. Sulamikan v'sulamikan, you have 2 ladders, but the ladders are not wide enough. They're not 4. They're only 2 tefach, but they have them side by side. And in between, you have straw, where you wouldn't be able to put your leg on it, because it would collapse. Ma'u. That doesn't help. So what about if you have kashmikan v'sulam be'emtzimau? What if you have straw on the sides and the ladder in the middle, even if it's only 2, but the straw on either side widens it? So then the straws on the side become like handles for your hands. Since you can put your feet on the rungs, they won't collapse, and you're going to use the side straws just for your hands, that'll work. What about chokak lahashlim? What about you carved within the wall steps? Ba'koisel b'kama, omerle ba'asora, 10 tfachim, as long as you have a carved steps, at least 10 tfachim, 4 by 4, it's like a Pesach, and that'll work. What if you've done the whole length of the wall? Yeah, you have to use the whole wall. So how come over there we didn't, when you carved it in, you didn't make such a differentiation. The first one, I guess it's made more indented, so it's easier to climb. This is more straight, and unless you make it all the way to the top, it's not going to serve as a real Pesach. Boy, Rav Yosef Merabba, Asauli ilan sulamau. You have a growing tree, and you carved into the tree like steps, and the tree is next to the wall. is that considered like a Pesach that you could make an Eruv between the two Chatzeros? Now we have a Gzeir, you're not allowed to use a tree on Shabbos. Tiboy Rebbe, Tiboy Rabbanon. You can ask the Kasha according to both. Tiboy Rebbe, Ad Kalokom Rebbe Hassam, called over Shumi Shum Shvus Legozra Lav. Rebbe said that Ben Hashmoshois, if something is midrabanan, osir, we're not goizer. And remember, we establish an eruv ben hashmoshes, but since this type of thing is going to be used throughout Shabbos, avakula yom alo, he doesn't hold that you can get rid of gzeres midrabanan if it's going to be used throughout Shabbos, so we would not be allowed to use the tree. Oidem afilu rabbanon. Really, you've created a piskahu. You've created technically physically a good opening. You know what? You happen to have a side issue, a halacha that prevents it. But as a Pesach, it's a good Pesach, and that's all we care. The Chazal call it Aryehu Reviale. It's like a lion on the side. It's not the Ikar Adin, a Pesach's a good Pesach. It's just a lion is there that prevents us from using it. So we ask another question. Asau Lasheira Sulamau. You have an Asherah tree, which was worshipped Avodah Zarah, which is Osir Bana, and you made a ladder out of such a tree. So, Tiboil Rabbi Yehuda, Tiboil Rabban. Tiboil Rabbi Yehuda, Kam Rabbi Hasam, to Mutter Liknois, Bayis Bisureyano. Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're allowed to use an eruv. For example, we said that you could lay your eruv on top of a grave. Now, a grave is Osir Bana, but you can use it since you can only put an eruv down because you want to do a mitzvah on Shabbos. You want to greet your Rebbe 4,000 amas from your home. So mitzvah slav lahenis nidu. There's no hana doing a mitzvah. So that's why there we say mutter liknos bayis b'sirana elahasam the basar the kadale eruv lo nichale delinter. But here, there's you need it for the whole Shabbos, and you need it for the whole time. Because by an eruv, once you have it established, ben hashmoshes, you don't need it anymore. So you're not going to want, you don't have to watch it. But here you want the ladder to be there the whole Shabbos. So maybe the Rabbi Yehuda will agree that you can't use it because it's nisrana. Oy dilma fil rabbanon pischahu. Listen, you've created a ladder that allows you to traverse this wall. That's what we know. Yes, there happens to be a halacha that prevents you. Aryeh d'reviale. But that's just a side issue. So Omerle ilan mutter. So you're allowed to use a tree, but you can't use an Asherah asura. Maski l'Rav Chizda adarab pum fakir. Just the opposite. Ilan she iser Shabbos gorim lo. What is the aryeh? What is the lion on the side preventing you to use the tree? There's a gzeira not allowed to use a tree. So maybe since the whole din is related to Shabbos nitzer, but Asherah has nothing to do with Shabbos. She iser davar acher gorim lo. It's usher to use a Avodah Zarah thing. So maybe we'd say loy nitzer. So itmer nami kios Rav Nam Rav Lazar Rav Lam Rav Avam Rav Yechon kol sheisur Shabbos garim lo like a tree because there's a gzer to use a tree on Shabbos aser kol sheisur davar acher garim lo mutter. So an asherah that has nothing to do with Shabbos, the reason why it's prohibited because of something else, it would be permitted to use. But Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Masni Hachi Ilan is pluked to the Rebbe Rabbanon. It's really telling the machlokes, but like we said, between Rebbe and Rabbanon. And Asherah is pluked to Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanon. Mishnah. Chritz shebein shtei chatzeros. You have a ditch between two chatzeros. Amok asra v'rachav arba. The ditch is 10 deep and 4 wide. So it's a real separation. Ma'arvin shnayim ve'en ma'arvin echad. Each chatzer can make their own eruv, but they can't join because you can't join them together. Afilu malei kasho tevem. Even if it was filled with straw, you can't join them because you can't really walk on that. It's not really considered a sealed pit. However, malei ofo etzroiros, if you fill it with dirt or pebbles, then you have a choice. Ma'arvin echad. No, ma'arvin echad, they ma'arvin shnayim. You can only make a joint eruv because you've created one chotzer between the two. You can't make two separate eruvim because there's no separation between the two. Now, if you have the ditch and nosan of neser sherochav arbot tfachim, you put a plank that's 4 tfachim wide, so you made a pesach. V'chein shnei gzus for zu keneged zur, two, you have balconies, and you can put a plank in between them. Ma'arvin shnayim, b'mrotzer ma'arvin echad. If you want, each one can make their separate eruv by not using the thing, or they're joined and you can make one eruv. If you don't have a pesach because you've made it less than 4 tefach, you can only ma'arvin shnayim ve'emar echad. You can't do it together. Freit the gemara v'teven l'chayitz. What, straw will not serve as filling in the ditch? Why not? The anantnan matvein shebein shtei chatzeros. You have a straw area between two chatzeros. Gavoa asar tfachim. If it's 10 tfachim high, ma'arvin shnai ve'ma'arvin achad. So you see, as if you make a wall of straw, it certainly works. How come it doesn't work by a ditch? When it comes to building a wall above the ground, straw will work fine. Filling up a ditch. So it depends. If you permanently mevatel the straw to the ditch, then it will close the ditch. The ilobatle lo chayitz. But if you didn't, because maybe you'll remove the straw because you can need the straw for something else. Okay. Then we say mole afar. You fill it with dirt, even if we don't know whether you're mevatel or not. V'hatnan. If you have a house that's filled with straw or pebbles and you were mevatel it, it's bottled to the house. Bitlo in, lo bitlo lo. So how could you say stam? It works. So Mirtz Hashem, tonight we will learn Navi at 8 o'clock, and tomorrow night we will continue Daf Yomi 79 at 8 o'clock. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you, Ernie. Go Dodgers.
Don't even get.
They need help. They need help. Daven hard.